When I wrote my first books, I went straight to writing the manuscript with little to no prior planning. The resulting stories weren't a disaster by any means, but they were a mess requiring a considerable amount of time and effort to clean up. This created quite a bit of frustration for me, more than I was willing to handle at the time, and I abandoned those projects. Then I heard about how my favorite show, Babylon 5, was thoroughly planned out before any filming began, and that inspired me to outline my own stories before writing the manuscripts. This has greatly improved my writing process and simplified the editing. Now, I want to show you how I do this and what I've learned in the years since starting. One of the most important things I have learned from experience is to have a well thought out world and characters before doing the outline. It is much harder to keep track of where everything is, who is doing what, and why if you don't have a clear picture of the world you're presenting. I'll be discussing character and world building in other videos, but for now, we'll proceed as if we have all that to a point where we can effectively do the plotting. Keep in mind that anything you write at this stage is subject to change as the story grows. Don't get stuck on making sure these notes reflect the final version of their inclusion in the story. I usually have a good idea of how I want the story to look long before I reach this point, so for me it's mostly a matter of translating the visuals in my head into words. If your ideas are more vague, this still works as a way to get that creativity flowing. Perhaps the biggest thing to remember is to not stress over it and trust the process. Your process. Take anything I show you and make it your own. There are different types of outlines you can do, from bulleted lists to simple charts, but I chose to use the format I learned in school. Each chapter is designated by Roman numeral with the title. The following lines are indented, marked with a capital letter, and filled in with a quick description of the scene. I can get carried away sometimes, but I try to stick to what I feel is the minimum amount of detail needed for me to remember what is to happen. Most of the time, this is all that is needed, but sometimes there is so much going on that it needs to be further organized, such as with keeping track of character positions and other details during a climactic event. The next step at that point is to further indent the next line and designate it with a standard number. To go any further than that is probably too much, and one might as well be writing the manuscript at that point. I should probably mention that I normally do this by hand in a notebook. If you're typing this on a computer, the program should automatically indent and mark the next line for you once you have it set up. Some programs will do this for you once you start typing in that style, but you may still need to tell it what style to use. Okay, back to the actual outlining. One thing I was taught is that anytime you have one point, a second is required. This means if there's an A, there must be a B. These are notes, and as such don't have to follow such rules, but personally, I find it to be a good way to prevent laziness and ensure a fully realized chapter. Remember, anything you put down at this stage will change as the story unfolds. Don't force yourself to use something for no other reason than it is already written in your outline. Chapters, scenes, etc. can be added, removed, or the order switched around as needed. This is only a guideline. That's all there is to it. It's a simple way of collecting and organizing your thoughts that will change and grow as you do, bringing your imagined creations that much further into the real world. Of course, there are people out there who don't need to do this at all, and who enjoy jumping right into the manuscript without all this preparation. There's nothing wrong with that, and those that work this way have my greatest respect. This is only how I do things, and shouldn't be taken to mean this is how everyone should do it. Use what works for you. I hope this helps you in your creative endeavors. If it does, or even if you just enjoyed listening to me drone on for some reason, remember to subscribe and enable notifications so you never miss a new video. Until next time.